Hi everyone, I'm Fran and welcome back to my channel, Everyday Frannay, and episode 2 of my quest to find the perfect hobby. So, what do I have on for week 2? Today we're going to be making scrunchies! Over the last year or so, I would say that scrunchies have become by far my favourite accessory. I pretty much don't leave the house without one. They're colourful, they're fun, they go with everything. Problem is, I find that they're a little bit expensive, which is why I've decided to start making my own. So, what do we need to get started? So you're going to need 2 bits of fabric, roughly 80 centimetres long, and the width will depend on how wide you want your scrunchie to be. I'm using 2 bits of ribbon to add some decoration. You will need some elastic, and if you're sewing on a sewing machine, you will need your bobbin thread and your main thread. And lastly, to complete the hand sewing, you will need a needle. When laying your fabric out, you want the nice side, so the right side facing upwards, so this will be on the inside. I am now adding my ribbon and aligning it to the edge of the fabric and laying my second ribbon on top. Now, when it comes to the second piece of fabric, again, I want the right side to face inwards, so the right sides are together, and any of the seams or the ugly bits of the fabric will be on the outside. When it comes to pinning your fabric, I'm not a massive perfectionist, but I do find that taking time to pin your fabric well will save you some time in the long run because it will avoid any need to adjust while you're sewing. So I do tend to take a little bit more time here than I would with any other part of the process. Now onto the sewing. So I started with the easy side and not the side with the 2 ribbons, and I'm just using a simple stitch all the way along and trying to remain as straight as possible, but as you can see, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're on to turning our scrunchie the right way round. Depending on how narrow you made your scrunchie, you might struggle with this step and might need to use a pencil to help yourself push the fabric along. It is a little bit fiddly, but shouldn't take you too long. When it comes to cutting the elastic, it really depends on how tight you want your scrunchie to be. I usually find that 8 or 9 inches gives enough elastic to be able to double knot at the end. So now to thread the elastic through, you add a safety pin to one side of the elastic and basically push the safety pin through the length of the fabric, being extra careful not to lose your other end of the elastic in the length of the fabric. Once it's all threaded through, you can then remove the safety pin and double knot your elastic. Now once we spread the material out, we now can see what the scrunchie is going to look like, and I'm super happy with it. Now what we do is we feed in one side of the scrunchie into the other end of it, and preferably pick the neater side to be on top, and then we add a pin to secure it, ready for sewing. When it comes to sewing the 2 ends together, I have always hand sewn this bit. I'm not sure if you can use a sewing machine, but I find that hand sewing with a simple back stitch is super easy. I'm not very careful with this, and I find that even if you make a few mistakes and it's not the neatest sewing, once you're wearing it, it doesn't really matter. Also, that was the perfect craft for me because it took no longer than 15 minutes. I didn't have a chance to get bored, although what you might have seen is I didn't spend much time on sewing, which could have been neater. But overall, I can't say I care because I love it so much. I think it's probably going to be one of my favourite scrunchies now. So, time to put it in. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and I hope that you're inspired to make your own scrunchie. Please do like and subscribe below so that you can follow on to see what I get up to next week and join me on my quest to find the perfect hobby. See you next week.